Welcome back, poker people of YouTube, to Vote in Poker Vlog. We are back at 52 Social on this fine, beautiful Sunday. Hopefully we can book another win and run it up and produce a good vlog for you guys. Let's get straight into the poker. See you guys inside. And as always, guys, just want to remind you that if you don't have access to live poker still due to COVID, there's always the online option if you download Poker Bros and use my club ID and refer ID. If you have any questions on getting started, there's instructions in the description box below, and you can always reach out to me on Telegram at avodin. Hope to see some of you guys on the online felt. So let's go ahead and get started into the game for $1,000 at 1-3 match the stack. We look down at Ace King offsuit in the small blind. The low jack hijack cut off all limp. We raise it up to $25 and only the hijack calls us. Flop comes Queen 9-5, 2 clubs and a diamond. We should hit this board, so we're going to c-bet, of course. We c-bet $35 and the hijack calls us. Turns a 10 of clubs. Now that the club draw is there and they called us on the flop, we're going to slow down. So we check it and the hijack checks back. River's the queen of spades. Obviously, ace king, 2 red cards is not going to be good enough here. So we're going to try to take down this pot with a sizable bet after they check the turn to us. Not too sure what they could have limp called with pre-flop and called a flop bet with, but it's definitely not a queen X hand. If anything, it's a club draw. But we're going to go for it, so we bet 80 into 129. The hijack tanks for a decent amount of time before saying if you have it, you have it, and making the call with pocket jacks. Moving right along, we have king, queen of hearts in the cutoff. The button straddle is on. The hijack limps, we make it $25, and then the button and hijack call. 3 ways to the flop, which comes queen, 5-3, 2 diamonds and a heart. We flop top pair with the backdoor heart draws. The hijack checks it. We continue for $40, and both players call surprisingly enough. The turn's a 4 of diamonds now, so the diamond draw gets there, and some weird straight draws, gutter balls. The hijack actually just goes ahead and leads for $135 all in. I don't like this spot. It looks like a diamond draw that just hit. More so a weak diamond draw. We make the call, probably a bad call in the long run, and then the button actually also goes all in for 131. And we go to river, which is a 9 of diamonds, 3 ways, not a good river, of course. And the hijack actually shows pocket 4s for the turn set, which scoops the pot. So not a good start. Obviously, we should be making that fold on the turn given that the diamond draw gets there, but we make a light call and are wrong. We then proceed to lose a bomb pot for $250 and are dealt aces next hand after that, immediately after. We open for $20 and the cutoff button call. Small blind 3 bets to $70, which is music to our ears. The big blind folds. We 4 bet to $200. The cutoff and button fold. The small blind then goes all in, and we obviously make the call asking if it's kings or aces. And I'll let you guys watch the run out. We decide to run it twice. Here we go. After that hand, we're basically back to our starting stack of $1,000. We have king, queen, offsuit, and the hijack. We open for $20. The small blind folds and the big blind calls. Heads up to flop, which comes king, jack, 8, rainbow. The big blind checks. We c-bet this board for $30, and the big blind calls. The turn's a jack of clubs. Not too great of a card. Any jack X could have called us on the flop and peeled for this trips on the turn. So the big blind checks to us, and we're going to pot control and check back. The river is now the 4 of diamonds, and the big blind checks. I don't want to get check raise here. We don't get called by anything worse, except maybe some king 10. So I check back, and the big blind shows ace 10, and obviously our king queen is good. So no reason to have bet the river, and we have showdown value at that point. Next hand, we have king 6 offsuit in the big blind. The under the gun, the +1, the hijack, small blind, all limp. We check this hand, of course. Flop comes king 5-3 rainbow, so we flop top pair with some weird runner gutter balls and straights. The small blind checks. We make a pot size bet of $15 and only the under the gun calls. The turn is the 5 of clubs now, so I guess a weird 5x hand gets there. We're not going to shy away yet, and obviously a lot of other king x hands are beating us, but we bet $25 and the under the gun makes the call. The river's what we think a pretty good card for us. It's the 5 of hearts, so we have 5s full of kings now. We go ahead and make a pretty sizable bet of $75. We actually get min clicked here to $150 by the under the gun. We obviously make the call. Only aces and a quad 5 beat us, and obviously aces would have raised pre. Sadly enough, the under the gun shows Jack 5 of spades, so we are not fortunate with this run out, and the quad 5s gets paid off by us. Moving on, we have the lucky 7s, pocket 7s in the small blind. The +1 opens for $20. The hijack calls. We have an easy flat here, no reason to re-raise, and the big blind folds. Three ways to flop, which comes 8, 7, 4, two clubs and a spade. So we flop middle set on a pretty wet board, club draws and straight draws, with a 5, 6 already being the straight. We check, looking to check raise this board. The +1 checks, and the hijack actually makes a decent sized bet of 60 into 63. We go ahead with the plan and check raise to 160, and both players fold. What would this vlog be without the support of you guys? So let's make it entertaining. Under the gun with 5 deuce of diamonds. We open under the gun for $20. The +1 min clicks to $40, and the cutoff calls. Small blind, big blind fold. Here I decide on a fold. Just kidding. We're going to play it for you guys. We make the min click call for $20 more. Three ways to flop, which comes pretty favorable. It's 3, 4, 6. So we flop the second nuts. Just all in the days of work. We decide to check it. The +1 bets $50, C betting. The cutoff folds. We decide to check raise here to 180. The reason being, even though we have the second nuts and we're pretty strong, there's a lot of scare cards on the turn that could slow down action given a 5 or a deuce. And the +1 already showed pretty good strength, min clicking us pre-flop. So we do make the raise to 180. The cutoff goes ahead and jams for $350 effective, and we make the snap call. Here's a run out for you guys. Here's some entertainment for you supporters of the vlog. Thank you so much. Here we go. Rip it.
Wow. What the fuck?
You know what? I flopped 2 pairs. 2 6.
So I don't want to go too in depth with the analysis of this hand because I basically played 5 deuce of diamonds, but he shouldn't have raised us all in. Granted that we could have all these sets here, 2 pairs, as well as overcards to his pocket 10s. So if anything, he looked for a flat and a reevaluation on the turn. Also, the turn's a pretty scare card, like I said, so I wanted to start piling the money on the flop, and the turn would have shut down a lot of our action unless he decides that there's no way we could have a 5 there or set or 2 pair. So yeah, don't want to get into too much analysis of playing a 5 deuce hand, but those are my thoughts from the villain's perspective.
What?
We weren't involved in this bomb pot, but it's a gross cooler spot where 10-9 scooped against 9-6 on the bottom for a full house over full house and a pair of 10s on the top. So we did lose a bomb pot double board for $200 prior to this hand, but we now look down at ace-9 of spades under the gun +1. Under the gun limps, we make it 25 with our suited ace, low jack, cutoff call, small blind, big blind fold, and under the gun calls. 4 ways to flop, which comes queen, jack, 8, rainbow. There is 1 spade, so we have backdoor spades to the nut flush, as well as our gutter ball to a 10. The under the gun checks, we make a pretty sized bet trying to just take down all this dead money. For $100, low jack folds, cutoff calls, under the gun goes all in for $75. The turn is the 5 of spades, so now we have that spade draw to the nut flush. We go ahead and continue our line of aggression for $250. Given that the cutoff has about $400 effective, the cutoff then just goes all in for $400. We're not folding for $150 more for this sizable pot, so we make the call. Pot's basically $1,200 or so. The river is the king of diamonds, so no good for us. We have ace high. The cutoff actually called pretty light, I would say, given that they only had queen 10 offsuit, so they had top pair with the gutter ball. They were blocking our 10, of course, but I think that's a kind of light call. The undergun shows pocket H for the set, scooping the main. So pretty rough one to miss and not take down, but we move on. This hand we have pocket jacks and the hijack. Low jack limps, we make it $20. The button calls, small blind, big blind fold, and the low jack calls. 3 ways to flop, which comes 6, 3, deuce, 2 diamonds and a heart. Really wet board. Our jacks are most likely good still. Low jack checks, we c-bet for $35. The button folds and the low jack calls. Turns the 4 of hearts, so pretty dangerous board now given that there's 2 flush draws and a 5 makes a straight. The low jack actually leads weirdly enough for $65. We have nothing to do here but make the flat call. The river's a 4 diamonds, so the diamond draw gets there and the straight's still there. Low jack bets $100. Not loving this spot at all. It seems so valuey given that it's less than 50% of the pot. We do make the call to see what he has, and the low jack shows 4-6 offsuit. So he flopped top pair and went runner for the 2 pair in boat and takes down this pot against our jacks. I hate pocket jacks. We add on $1,000 at this point, given that everyone's so deep. Let's try to make some money back. We have pocket sixes in the cutoff. Hijack limps, we make it $20 and everyone else folds except the hijack. Flop comes 7-4-4, 2 spades in the club. It's a pretty good board for us. He shouldn't have hit this board at all. He actually donk bets for $25 and we make the flat here. We don't want to bloat the pot. The turn's the 8 of hearts, so now we have a gutter ball to the 5 and our sixes are probably still good. He continues again for $25, really weird line. We make the call. The river's the ace of diamonds, pretty bad card. And when they check, we obviously check back given our showdown value with our sixes. And the hijack shows deuce 3 of spades with the flop flush draw and that missed. And our sixes are good. Next hand, ace jack of hearts in the hijack. Low jack limps, pop it up to $20. Small blind, big blind fold. Low jack makes the call. Heads up to a flop, which comes queen 9-4, rainbow, 1 heart, so we have back doors to the straight and heart draw. Low jack actually donk bets for $55. We make the call given our overs and backdoor equity. The turn is the deuce of clubs. Low jack actually checks it now, weirdly enough. So when they check back, it seems pretty weak. We're going to go ahead and try to take down this pot with a very small bet of $70, and the low jack, as expected, folds. Let's continue the route of aggression. The button straddle is on. We look down at ace-7 offsuit in the cutoff. Small blind, big blind fold. Hijack limps a 6. We limp the 6. The button makes it $20. Hijack calls. This just seems like the button's trying to squeeze and take down the dead money. I know this should be a fold, but we make the call. Flop is pretty good though. It's 7-4-3, 2 diamonds and a heart. We do have the ace of diamonds and we have top now. Hijack bets $30. We're going to raise, trying to take down this pot with top and our ace diamond blocker. So we raise to $90 and both players, as expected, fold. Next hand, jacking off in the hijack again. Low jack limps, we make it $20. Small blind folds and the big blind and low jack call. 3 ways to flop, which comes queen 8-5, rainbow. We could c-bet this board given that the queen should hit our range, but multi-way, I don't like making c-bets, so we check it after it checks through. The turn is the 7 of spades. The big blind bets $30 and low jack and myself fold. Next one, we have queen jack offsuit under the gun. I open for $20. The hijack calls and everyone else folds. Flop comes king deuce 10, 2 spades and a heart, so we flop open-ended. We're going to c-bet for $30 heads up and the hijack calls. The turn's the 4 of diamonds. We're going to continue our story and c-bet $50. The hijack calls once again. The river is the 8 of diamonds. We have nothing now, so we're not going to try to bluff at it. It's clear that he's been calling with something, so we check. The hijack actually checks back and shows queen 9 of spades, so they had the flush draw as well as a gutter ball. And our queen jack, surprisingly enough, is good. We move right along to the small blind with ace 10 of clubs. The cutoff limps, button limps. We make it $20 with our suited ace. Decent kicker. Big blind calls, cutoff button fold, heads up to a flop, which comes jack, jack 6, rainbow. There is 1 club, so we have back doors to the club draw. It goes check, check. The turn is the 9 of clubs, so now we have that club draw to the nut flush. We bet $25 and the big blind calls. The river is the queen of spades. It goes check, check because we only have ace high as our showdown value. The big blind actually says ace high as well, but shows ace 4 offsuit, and our 10 plays to scoop this pot as well. This hand we have ace queen offsuit under the gun +1. We open for $20. Small blind calls, big blind folds. Flop comes queen 7 deuce, 2 diamonds and a heart, so we flop top. Small blind checks, easy c-bet here for $30 and the small blind folds. Another ace X hand in this one, ace 10 offsuit and the cutoff. Low jack, hijack, limp, we make it $20. Small blind, big blind fold and the low jack, hijack call. 3 ways to flop, which comes queen, queen 10, rainbow. So we flop the queens and 10s with ace kicker. Low jack, hijack check, we c-bet for $40. Low jack folds and the hijack calls. Turns the 4 of clubs, low jack checks to us. We can't stop and step on the pedal just yet. because the only thing that beats us is a Queen X hand. So we go ahead and bet $75 and the low jack calls. River's the 5 of diamonds. We have showdown value after getting called in 2 streets. So when the low jack checks to us, we check back and the low jack shows Queen 9 offsuit. Moving on, ace 6 of clubs under the gun +1. The button straddle is on. Under the gun limps to 6. We make it $20 with a suited ace. Low jack calls, button, small blind, big blind fold, and under the gun calls. 3 ways to flop, which comes 10, 7, deuce, rainbow. No real reason for us to c-bet this board when checked to us unless we had some ace 10 combo, so we check it and it checks through. The turn's ace of spades, so we turn top pair. Under the gun checks, we bet half pot for $35 and both low jack and under the gun call. The river is the king of clubs. The under the gun checks, we make a sizable bet of 130. I don't think our ace 6 is good here, so I want to try to bully out other ace X hands, weak ace X hands specifically. The low jack calls and under the gun folds, and the low jack actually has ace 9 offsuit and their 9 kicker plays. So we go ahead and announce last hand under the gun as we always do before we're about to leave. We have pocket queens under the gun, surprisingly enough for our last hand. The button straddle is on. Small blind folds, big blind limps to 6. We make it $25. The button and big blind call. Flop comes ace, king, deuce, 2 spades and a diamond. So it's never easy for pocket pairs, and 2 overs are right there on the board. Big blind checks, we obviously make the check, and the button goes ahead and bets $35. Big blind folds. When it gets back to us heads up, I think I can peel 1 street. The button can be representing any 2 cards, given that it was a button style hand. Of course, they could have ace X, king X hands that called pre-flop, but this is also more of a button style hand than a $25 raise pre-flop hand. So we make the call to reevaluate a turn, which comes with 5 of spades. So now we have the queen high spade draw, as well as our pocket queens. We check. The button bets $65. For that price, we can't go anywhere with our queen high flush draw and our pair. It's a really weird sizing given that it's so small, so we do make the call. The river is a 9 of clubs. We check it, and the button actually checks back weirdly enough, and our pocket queens are good. We were in the game for 2,100, out of the game for 1,382. That's a net loss of 718. I think we called light in too many spots to flip, as well as the bomb pots that hurt us, which weren't in the vlog. But got to keep it honest, we were down $720, even though a lot of the hands look like wins. Bit of a rough session given the losses in our bomb pots, but I hope you enjoyed the content I was able to provide. I hope it was entertaining. Thank you if you made it this far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a bunch. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.